So the wave of the metaverse, as far as bringing value to many of these enterprises out there, was just a flash in the pan, and people realized pretty quickly that there was nothing there. And so many of the consulting firms that have built practices on the metaverse and huge amounts of white papers and everything we just talked about, surveys on the adoption of the metaverse and things like that. And by the way, it's a good use case for seeing, how well the hype and the marketing can generate interest in something when there's nothing there in terms of value. And I think in many cases, we showed that with the metaverse, hype that was around, and it went nowhere. And you don't see metaverse practices these days. No one's talking about it these days. And the rise of AI just completely, blew it away. Well, that's a concern when we're convinced enterprises to move in that direction and to make investments in that direction. Many enterprises did and ended up not paying out. So in other words, a risk, it was a failure. Of course, we're always taught to fail fast and keep trying stuff, things like that. Nothing against that, but there's certain things that are more obvious than others, which shouldn't even be tried. And that was one of them. The next was blockchain. Obviously, blockchain has a huge amount of tactical value, in terms of its use. It becomes kind of a core, mechanism that you can deploy in building a system, but it's not a revolution or in the way in which we're going to deploy, distributed systems, using, accounting-based frameworks, things like that.